If you're interested in what I look like in real life, then make sure you check out my Instagram at Jovi Insomniac. These events took place in the spring of 2014. My friend Samantha and Tanny had finally agreed to come camping with me. The problem is that none of us were experienced in surviving the wilderness, but that didn't stop us. We packed up our gear, loaded up on food, alcohol, and made our way to our location. When we arrived at the spot, Sarah had googled. We realized that we would have to hike for a while in order to find a spot suitable for camping. We hiked for some time before reaching a clearing. We set up camp and started a fire, opening a bottle of tequila. After some drinking and smoking a bit, I decided to start preparing dinner, so I left Samantha and Tanny by the fire as I was separating our dinner. As I was busy separating, I realized a man's approaching our camp. "Hey you there," he said with a thick Irish accent. I was caught off guard as I wasn't expecting to see anyone, but nonetheless, he seems friendly, so I reply, "Oh hey, I didn't even notice you. Been hiking for a while?" "Yeah, for a bit." "What you cooking there?" He gestures to me. I invited him to join us because I'm not rude, and he seems nice. So we walk over to the fire where I introduce him to the others, who seem extremely unimpressed about our new guest. After eating dinner, we kept drinking, but during this time, it was becoming very clear that our guest had really taken a liking to me. He kept trying to move closer to me and was paying little to no attention to my friends. He was only speaking and focusing on me while drinking his bottle of whiskey. That's when things took a turn and his conversations become weird, making everyone uncomfortable. But it wasn't until he leant over, grabbed the back of my neck and said, "Come on babe, get rid of these two idiots and come into the woods with me," before I could even react. And then, Tanny was already right behind him, trying her best to get him away from me, while screaming like a banshee. I can't remember what she was saying, but she was inventing her own words. It worked. He let go of my neck, took a step back, looked at Tanny, and let out the most sinister smile that I've ever seen. It was something that I can't describe. For that, he had beautiful teeth and a smile, but something about the combination of his eyes just filled me with goosebumps. Even typing this, I'm having the same reaction. He slowly starts walking away from my camp while laughing. I'm absolutely petrified, but decided to quickly tidy up before heading to my tent and hide. I was originally meant to sleep in my own tent while the other two shared, but we all went to the same one. Everything had been quiet for a while, with the exception of Tanny snoring. I was about to fall asleep when I hear twigs crunching and the sounds of footsteps fast approaching us. I lay still, holding my breath, completely immobilized by fear, until I heard my tent being opened, and Samantha let out a scream so loud that it even jolted the Irish psycho, and he jumps back a few steps. Tanny has been woken by this stage, and we're all standing outside the tent. Samantha and Tanny yelling, and I'm fumbling with my phone trying desperately to call the police. He then hits Tanny in the face. I drop everything. I yell, "Run, just run." I held Tanny's arm and don't look back. Importantly, we only have socks on, and we're running through the woods at night, with a psycho chasing us. I ran until I trip over a log, smash my chin down on the ground pretty hard. That's where all three of us stay hidden, low to the ground for a few hours, but it's pitch black. When we felt safe enough, we walked back to the campground and find everything destroyed. Both Samantha and Tanny had everything stolen of value. Weirdly though, my phone is smashed, not even stolen, making me realise how bad his intentions were. I thank my lucky stars I had no documents that could identify me. The last thing I wanted was him knowing where I lived. We don't waste any more time and ran back to our car as fast as possible, occasionally injuring ourselves on the way as we can barely see anything. We get to the car and I'm trying to start the engine, which is doing that sound it makes when it's about to die. When he sees us, he suddenly starts running out of the bushes towards us, laughing. We all scream hysterically and I floor it. God, I'm so scared. I drove like an absolute maniac until we reached the next town over, only to discover that my car's been tampered with and is leaking oil. God, it was done by that psycho. We eventually get picked up by Tanny's dad, taking us to the police station immediately. And unfortunately she broke her jaw in 2 places, and they never found him. I hate the fact that he's not been caught. For all I know, he could still be out there lurking on people, just like he did with us. I know that situation could have ended so much worse. Like I said before, the part I hate in all of this is that he smashed my phone, making sure there was no trace of him or his location. He wasn't even willing to steal the phone because he knew the police could probably track it. God, it makes me sick thinking about this. I was at the office later than normal, but not excessively late. I left at about 6 and realised I needed gas, so I stopped at the 1-2 minutes from my job. It was still light out because of the summer, which made the situation weirder. I go to the gas station, and nothing has happened there before, so I was pretty relaxed, and just tired in general from work. Now while I'm pumping gas, I see a truck pull in, which is kind of rusty, with 2 guys in the front, but perpendicular in the way it's parked, which is weird, but I just keep filling my car so I can head home. The 2 guys just look like 2 guys from the country, a bit older, like 40s or 50s, but I felt uncomfortable. The guy driving was talking softly, but I ignored him at first. I didn't realise he was even trying to speak to me. The guy then yelled at me, which catches me off guard. I think I said something along the lines of, "Can I help you?" The driver was motioning for me to come closer to talk, which I didn't because it feels off. The guy finally spoke at a normal level and said they're looking for the shortest covered bridge. The country I'm in is known for this. This wasn't too weird of a question, but it's a little hard to point out without a map. I briefly told the guys the directions from the gas station and was grabbing the receipt. This is when all of the red flags go off in my head. He, the driver, asked me to lead them there now. It was out of the way and I say hell no and get in my car. He then starts screaming at me to get in their truck. Now this really scares me. He then starts to get out of his truck. I haven't got time for this. I floor it. The truck doesn't move, so I have to back out. I was worried about them following me, and they did follow my car, but I quickly take a few random turns and manage to lose them on the highway. Oh, the whole time the passenger was staring at me too. The whole thing was weird to me, But what scared me was that they were trying to get me out in the middle of nowhere to do God knows what to me. I'm just glad I got out of there when I did. I was a little young when this happened, so I don't really remember it. So this is a story my mum has told me. When I was around 5 or 6, my family and a family of friends all went camping together in New Hampshire. Each family had a camper, and we all set up at one campsite. The campground had a playground, a lake nearby, and there was always something going on. One day, me and my friend Keisha, who was around the same age as me, were playing on our campsite as our mums talked outside the camper, keeping their eyes on us. At some point, an old man came walking by our campsite. He seemed like a normal guy according to my mum, but then he started to walk up and start a conversation with our parents. He said he owns a campsite a little way down the path, and that he has his own little playground in the backyard of his camper. He then said to me that my friends are allowed to come over any time that we wanted to play. My friend's mum was oblivious to the situation though, telling him it's a very nice gesture and we can later possibly. My mum on the other hand, who's to say the very least has experience with creeps, shut him down, told him no, go away. He walked away, and my friend's mum started asking my mum why it's such a big deal. My mum told her that there's already a playground at the campsite, and that we do not go under any circumstances. She even went around to the other campsites to warn people and stay away. Weeks pass, the camping trip is over, and everyone's home for the rest of the summer. My mum is doing things around the house when she gets a phone call from her friend from the camping trip. She's freaking out, apologizing, telling her that she'll never go against her judgments again. Turns out, she turned the news on, and there he is. Apparently he got into a local pharmacy trying to get pictures developed, and he had hundreds of pictures of children. So this actually happened today. I live in a pretty nice neighborhood, and compared to the rest of my city, my area is considered safe. Well, I thought that was true until now. Me and my 2 foster sisters were walking home from school on the route we take every day, and we reached the intersection that we cross to get to our street. It's a very long wait until we're able to cross, and we usually just jaywalk. So me and one of my friends made it across, but my one friend got stuck in the middle with this girl who looks about the same age as us. And she just got off school, not saying anything. She's not saying anything, just kept walking. Now 2 or 3 minutes later, she's coming running behind me, and by then we're at our house, and she tells us to get inside fast, but it takes forever for someone to open the door, and I'm asking her over and over again what's happening. And she just says, I think I was almost human trafficked, and at some point, the girl who was calmly walking down the street started behind us like nothing happened. When we finally got inside, she told me the girl started talking to her, and at first, my friend just thought she was being friendly when she asked what school she went to, but then the red flags began. She asked her who my other friend and I were, and where she was going, and where she lived at, and what her name was, and then she heard a car rev up their engine. She turned around to see a white van parked in a small parking lot across the street with 3 men in it, and the girl also looked, and started speaking faster, asking her if she wanted to walk home with her, and it's only down one street. Finally, the light said walk, and she took off. But that girl now knows where we live. But thankfully, my friend saw the red flags and didn't give away any information, or didn't agree to walk with her. And I know it may sound like maybe this girl was also scared, but when she walked past our house, she looked completely fine, like nothing happened. Like she was just a girl walking home from school. She didn't look at all unusual. We have yet to tell our parents what happened. I just pray I don't see that freaking van. When I was younger, my friends and my brothers would always go camping together. We weren't too old, and we didn't live too far from a big field and lake. It made great camping though, because it was away from things but not too far away from home. We had one incident, however, that is truly unbelievable, and it made us all never go camping again thereafter. So one night, we're all having a great time doing some fishing in the lake. We have our fire going, and we're just talking about random stuff when suddenly we hear a clicking sound from across the water. Now I can't pin down exactly what it was, but there was something very off about the sound. You could tell an animal wasn't making it, but we're literally the only people there. Anyway, we continue our fishing, and nights fell. What's stranger though, is the clickings persisted for well over an hour now, and that doesn't make any sense. My buddies are starting to get quite paranoid now because it seems to be getting louder. It's almost like, no matter where you go, the clicking seems to follow you. I decide to investigate, and so does my brother, and we both stand up simultaneously. As we get up, we can see a figure across from us on the island in the lake. He looks freaking massive though, like at least 7 feet tall. It's so ridiculous, I don't even think it's a real person. We laugh about it, saying, oh yeah, the tree scared us. But then the clicking starts even louder. We can now see there's a small fire on the island too. That come out of nowhere. Nobody saw it before. That makes no sense. And then it goes out suddenly. We both scream and look at the rest of the camp, who are also gathered on the shoreline looking at what this thing is. And then, almost on cue, the second we stop screaming, it starts again for 4 seconds, then goes out again. And this illuminates a figure slightly. You can't see it well because whatever it is wearing a robe, but it's an actual thing there. The fire goes out again. We all scream and run away from there. I was so scared and worried that my mum or dad would go out to investigate with the other parents and get hurt that I didn't even tell them. Nobody did. Even 15 years on, it still haunts the life out of me to this day. The thing is, we know nobody was on the island because we could see it was clear during the daytime, and we never heard a boat go in there. It's literally the worst experience of my life. I even have goosebumps now thinking of it.